In just a few years, Alan Keating has gone from a complete unknown to one of the most popular poker players in the world.
Alan Keating's here.
His loose, aggressive, and unpredictable style has made him a fan favorite. He doesn't appear publicly too often, but he shows up for major events like high-stakes poker and the $1 Million Game. But while he plays in some of the biggest games in the world, the public perception about Keating is that he's a fish. He routinely has VPIPs over 80 and makes questionable plays. However, I think Alan Keating has been hiding his true skills. Let me show you what I mean.
Cooler in progress.
Lock it in, a little kid with a mullet.
The first hand we're looking at, Keating opens queen 10 off from the cutoff and gets 3-bet from the small blind. Peter then cold calls the 3-bet, and Keating calls, let's take a flop.
Keating tagging along with queen 10 offsuit against queens and jacks. Keating has air.
Jack C-bets a standard $35,000 on the 7-6-4 flop. Peter makes the call. Then Keating decides to do something a little bit wild here. He only has queen 10 with 1 diamond. I mean, his hand is quite terrible in this spot, but he can easily have a flopped straight, sets. Keating plays all those hands. He can easily have an 8-5 suited kind of combo, a 5-3 suited. He's the kind of guy that can even have 5-3 off and 8-5 off here. And of course, he has pocket 4s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s in his range. So he's using that to his advantage here, and he's making a big raise, putting these guys to the test. But unfortunately for him, Jack has pocket queens and Peter has pocket jacks. So they both make a call, and we're taking a turn in a pot that's already $621,000. That's enough money to buy a house, and we haven't even seen a turn yet.
Check. There's the check. Peter checks as well.
2 of spades peels off on the turn, and it goes check, check, and Keating now has a decision. He decides that he doesn't want to continue betting in this spot into 2 players that are calling stations, which I think is the right move. Let's take a river.
Look you up. Interesting card here. The flush draw comes in.
Ace of diamonds peels off on the river. It gets checked to Alan Keating, and he decides to make a pot-sized river jam bluff here. He does have the 10 of diamonds, which is working in his favor. There's a slight issue here in that he did check back the turn. That's probably gonna discount some of the sets that he has, some of the straights that he has, because there was 2 flush draws on that turn. He would have probably bet a lot of his sets. He would have probably bet a lot of his straights. So now on the river, he's basically just saying, I have a flush. I raised a flush draw on the flop. Now I made my flush, and now I'm betting my flush.
Jack's gone.
I believe you.
Peter studying his opponent.
He gets Jack to fold with the queen of diamonds. Jack could have called with the queen of diamonds. That's a great blocker to have here. But let's be real, Keating can have all kinds of flushes here. He can have like the 9-2 of diamonds here. He can have 10-8 of diamonds, 10-9 of diamonds. There's still lots of flush combos here. And is Keating really bluffing into Jack and Peter in this spot, knowing that these guys are on the stationy side of things? I guess the answer to that is yes. And Peter is the kind of guy to call down to find out if that's true.
Give Peter credit for thinking this long. There's the call.
So Peter does decide to call down, and Keating is pretty surprised when he sees Peter's hand. Peter's hand is a very not good here. I mean, he doesn't have a diamond blocker. He has a pure bluff catcher. Keating's not the kind of guy you want to make hero folds against. Keating opens to 10K from the cutoff with pocket kings. Texas Mike ends up calling in the big blind with ace-6 suited. Let's take a flop.
He's a 10K to 900, pretty sick.
Unbelievable. Really, it's unbelievable.
910K is way easier.
Keating C-bets $15,000 on the king 8-6 flop. Texas Mike goes ahead and decides to check raise to $65,000 with his bottom pair plus nut flush draw. Let's take a turn.
Well, we've got a bloater on our hands.
So crazy.
three of spades on a turn, Texas Mike decides to continue with $120,000. Keating, of course, makes the call. Let's take a river.
Just a call, he decides. Let him keep bluffing. 7-5 gets there, but Keating's not too worried about that.
Texas Mike finally decides, I need to slow down here. He checks it over to Keating, hoping that Keating has some kind of missed draw, like a 9-7, maybe a hand like a 10-9 of clubs or something like that, or maybe that it just goes check, check, and he just wins. But unfortunately for him, Keating has top set and decides to bet $450,000.
Something like that. 450K. Slight overbet.
Texas Mike times down for 2 hours and 15 minutes, and this is the kind of spot where Alan Keating's image really played in his favor, right? Texas Mike could only beat very few hand combinations here. He beats 9-7, and he beats some busted flush draws, and he loses to everything else.
There it is.
I got it. Oh, sorry. Okay.
This call is one of those situations where Texas Mike might have folded this hand versus anyone else at the table, but Alan Keating finds a way to get called.
$9 million pot.
Nice hand. Thank you. Folded the button there, Phil.
Snap folded.
You weren't interested in it?
No.
Because he knows Alan's going to raise.
Here we have a limp from the small blind and the big blind. Alan Keating in the straddle wakes up with ace-10 offsuit, decides to make a raise of $1,800. The small blind folds. Cho calls in the big blind with her ace-3 suited. Let's take a flop.
Well, both players flop top pair. Alan with the better kicker.
Arden's gonna need some help or she could end up ruining the small comeback she's made.
The flop comes ace-5-4. Keating c-bets, pot, size. Cho makes the call. Let's take a turn.
Is the queen of clubs, so Arden picks up a flush draw to go with her wheel draw.
Cho checks it over to Keating again. Keating bets 10,000 into a pot of 12,000, and Cho decides my top pair with my flush draw and my gut shot straight draw is worth a raise here. She raises it up to $30,000. Keating makes the call. Let's take a river.
In the pot as we go to the river, and the board bricks out for Arden. Alan's still with the best hand.
Out of position, she's in a terrible spot any way you slice it.
One.
She shoves the river.
The river comes to 6 of spades, and Cho decides to turn her hand into a bluff, which I love, okay? And Keating is timing down and timing down.
I don't suppose you let me see one this time.
I don't think that's such a good idea.
Sure.
Ooh.
Just because you let me see last time.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
You want to pick?
Doesn't matter.
It matters.
Am I going to pick the 7 or 8 of clubs?
He gets her to show a card. She shows him the 3 of clubs, and now he's super confused. Like, what does she have? Like 3-2 suited of clubs, 7-3 suited of clubs, something like that. Like, it confuses the hell out of him.
Comfortable.
Wow, what a hand.
Does Arden know she wants a fold?
He decides to fold his ace-10 here. Cho shows him the bad news, but I really like this fold from Keating. It's really difficult to put her on a bluff here. She could have hands like, before she showed the 3 of clubs, she could have hands like 7-6 suited or something like that, turning into a bluff in this kind of situation. But there's just not that many combos of bluffs here, guys.
3 of clubs makes him fold.
I know.
Because he has to fold.
It's the only.
I think the
I was
fold-
like, oh, please open the 3 of clubs. Please open the 3 of clubs. I was like, please.
Now we get to the most interesting hand of this video. And just a reminder that this upcoming hand comes from Poker Go, which you can check out at the link in our description below.
One could say that's a lovely top Brittany's wearing, right?
This hand starts off super standard with Steve opening with his 8-6 offsuit, Peter flatting on the button with his 6-3 suited, and Keating comes along with 9-7 suited from the big blind. Let's go to a flop.
Keating picks up a 7. Spades for Peter.
Steve makes a standard c-bet of 4,000 here. He has no business being in this hand. Peter then raises his flush draw on the button to $13,000. The action gets around to Keating. This might seem like a really crazy play, but let me break this down for you. When Peter raises this flop on ace-king 7, he can't have a hand like ace-king, pocket aces, pocket kings because he didn't 3-bet pre-flop. The best hands Peter can have in his range are hands like ace-7, pocket 7s, or king 7 suited of some kind, or offsuit if he's crazy enough to play that. So Keating having a 7 in his hand here is an excellent blocker in this spot because he blocks those hands. Having a 7 here is fantastic to make a bluff here. So he goes ahead and takes the spot, and Peter is not going anywhere with his flush draw. Let's take a turn.
6 on the turn.
Definitely Peter not going anywhere.
The turn comes as 6 of hearts, and Keating decides to continue on his bluff for the reasons I mentioned before. He blocks all of the strongest value hands that are in Peter's range. Peter raises it up to $175,000. Now, when he makes this raise, he's repping a hand like pocket sevens or ace 7. That's basically it. He's not raising any other hands for value. And Keating knows this, okay? He's good enough to really recognize this and know what's happening. He has a 7 in his hand. So he's thinking, okay, so Peter's range is either pocket sevens, ace 7, or some kind of flush draw. That's it. So he decides to make the call. Let's go to a river.
Somewhat outstanding from Keating. Can he fade it again on the river?
River comes to 4 of hearts. Keating checks it over to Peter, and Peter decides to go all in as a bluff. And Keating is timing down. He's thinking about this, and the same thoughts are going through his mind as they were on the flop and a turn. Peter's value hand range here cannot be aces. It cannot be kings. He cannot have ace king because he didn't 3-bet pre-flop. The only hands he has are pocket sevens and ace 7 that makes sense played this way. King 7 would have never overplayed the hand this way. That doesn't seem realistic. So it's ace 7, pocket sevens, or a missed flush draw. And Keating says, you know, I think I'm getting the right price here. I have a 7 in my hand, so I block the pocket sevens and the ace 7. He decides to make the call, and that's that.
Yeah.
This guy's something else, man. This guy is a special talent. That was wild.
That was great. I love that. Good stuff.
Alan Keating is way better than we give him credit for. Hit that notification bell, subscribe.